HD4. So there's all kinds of ways you can check out the Nooga Radio Outdoors program. I'm Cindy, and it's my absolute honor to be your host and outdoor activity, events, and adventure guide for our community. And I want to know about your adventures, your events, and your outdoor activities. I want to know about your competitions, your festivals, golf tournaments, 5Ks, 10Ks, trail races, whatever it might be. Email me at nrocindy@gmail.com. That's NRO, like Nooga Radio Outdoors, Cindy@gmail.com. I'm loving getting your feedback, and I love learning more about the activities to connect people with here in our awesome Chattanooga community. A quick shout out before we jump in. I'm excited to jump into our guests. A quick shout out to our wonderful host sponsor, Chicken Salad Chick. We love Chicken Salad Chick with 2 convenient locations in town. We've got the convenient location downtown where there's curbside pickup. You can call ahead. They'll bring it right out to your car, so you don't have to worry about parking downtown. We've got the East Brainerd location over on Gun Barrel. And now we are so proud of Josh Patton opening his 3rd location at Erlanger Mall. Salad Chick, and you can check them out at chickensaladchickchattanooga.com, chickensaladchickchattanooga.com. Now I'm just going to jump right in. I'm eager to introduce our guest. I have Randy Wharton with Wild Trails with me. Hi, Randy.
Hello.
And David Farr is with us.
How you doing?
Oh, doing really good. So glad to have you guys with us. Randy's been with me before, and I invited him back because he is doing such cool things in our city and has so many things going on that I'm just eager to connect our community with all the activities that he has to promote. But Randy's brought David with him today because they have a very cool story that relates to one of the clubs. Is that what it's called, Randy?
It's called 200 Mile Club, and it's just a basically a database to allow you to sort of track your activity, whatever it is. There's 15 different activities in the program. And it's a program just kind of designed to get people off the couch, but it's also a great way to track your activity. And the cool thing about it, 2 cool things about it is there's 15 different activities. So no matter what you're into, especially if you're into multiple things, it all bases the miles or minutes or holes played in golf, whatever, to club miles. So it's kind of a great way to track your progress and share kind of what you're doing and sort of a little bit of, kind of some competition there, try to see how you're doing compared to everybody else. And at the end of the year, we're going to have a celebration to sort of, new people in the club. So 200 miles, whether it takes you 6 months or 5 years, once you get in the club, then you can do some other things by getting these merit badges and other different things. And then the celebration of people getting into the club, but then the most activities done or the most miles done, or we're still kind of working on what exactly we're going to do as these awards. But it's originally was just to get people off the couch, because it's just sad to say, not only in Chattanooga, but this part of the country for sure. In fact, it's probably the entire world is becoming more and more sedentary. And so we have such a great city that allows us to get outdoors, and it's just so much easier, especially when you get out into nature, to just get used to it, because it's not only a physical thing that you're helping, but getting out when you're, sort of getting with nature out on a nature trail or on the water, you got the bond with nature that's just so good for your mind and all that. So we really try to get people out, and a lot of the things supporting this program. We're trying to get social media for every one of the 15 activities, so you can find people that are like you in the area to do stuff. I mean, we've got walking a baby stroller is one of the activities, so you can say,
Definitely.
Hey, I'm leaving at, I'm meeting down at Coolidge Park, whatever time on Tuesday, and you could, have other people meet you. So pretty cool deal. And then,
well, I love that, the off the couch concept is what we're about here, but it's not just, about off the couch. It's that person that is a workaholic and doesn't stop to get that much needed break and get the balance in their life that they need. And that's a lot what this platform is about, because it can be very intimidating for a lot of people to start new things or to join new groups. And that's why I'm eager to have people like Randy in the rotation so that you get more familiar with these activities and more familiar with these people. And it makes it that much easier for you to get involved. And I love what you said about the club and tracking multiple things. So you realize the benefit you're getting from just being active. It's not just how many miles on a bike or just how many steps I walked. There's so many things that you get the benefit from, and that it incorporates all that and allows you to be a part of I guess it allows some accountability, certainly, which is always a good thing.
And you can find other people like you. And then a lot of companies are doing some really good stuff with their health and wellness program internally, but this allows you to sort of compare how you're doing with the rest of the community and with the rest of the unicycle community, if you're into that, or baby stroller community. Let me just real quick read all we have. So it's walkers, runners, hikers, bikers, climbers, swimmers, paddlers, baby stroller pushers, golf, as long as there's no carts involved, tennis, CrossFit, aerobic team, wheelchairs, hula hoops, and even unicycle. So, and we're open to adding any kind of activity, especially outdoor activity, to this, if there's enough interest. So whatever it is, we can make it work.
Okay. And is that how, David, is that how you got involved with Wild Trails?
Well, I started with Wild Trails running some of their races after I started running. So back in 2009, kind of like Randy said, I decided to get off the couch. I weighed 315 pounds.
Wait. What did you weigh?
315.
How tall are you?
So 6'4".
You were a pretty big guy.
I was a big guy. I was big all over, and just not a very healthy lifestyle whatsoever.
Exactly.
And I decided something had to happen, and so I got up and started running and could.
No, wait. You got up and started running.
I went to the gym, got a treadmill, and tried to start running on a treadmill. I'd run some when I was, playing sports and stuff in high school, obviously.
Okay.
But I had not run in a long time, and I could barely do half a mile on the treadmill. And but I stuck with it. And by December of that year, I had lost like 20 pounds, and I thought that was huge, and that was great. But I wanted to try to do something every single day. So in December of 2009, I set a goal to run at least 2 miles a day for 100 days, just so I could stay consistent and be doing something. And I have not missed a day since. So I've kept that streak up, and it introduced me to a whole new community of people, kind of like Randy said. Once you get off the couch and you start joining these different groups and going out and running with people, having these conversations and enjoying that community, you meet all kinds of people that enable you to strive to do even more things. And so I started doing longer runs and such.
And that's the key thing that I try to help people understand. It isn't just about the activity, it's about the camaraderie.
Yeah.
I talk a lot on here. I'm a hang glider pilot. I'm not active right now, but I keep talking about it to keep myself accountable so that I will take the steps to get active again. But I miss the flying. Oh my goodness. I miss being at cloud base. I miss running off that ramp. But what I miss more than anything is that camaraderie.
Right.
The end of the day, around the campfire, the there I was stories, that is just, you can, when you have an activity like this, you show up and you've got instant friends. You immediately, all of you have something in common, and that is the focus. So these groups are very diverse. And I love that. I love the diversity in your outside activities, because they're there for whatever that activity is, and you find common ground there, and you make really good friends, and it opens up your world. Like way more than you can just around the water cooler at
Definitely
the office.
So. Yeah, you meet all kinds of different types of people, and it also becomes accountability for you. I call them enablers, because there's things that when I first started running, if somebody told me that I could run 100 miles in one day, that would be a ridiculous thing. I never even heard of such a thing, that somebody would do that. And then you start hanging out with these people and running with, somebody, hey, and I've done an ultra. Well, what in the world is an ultra? And then that community, and you just kind of get involved with it. And then suddenly they encourage you and say, hey, you could probably do this too. And, my favorite thing is I have a great story that I can go back and tell other people that are just getting off the couch. We always make excuses. Well, I never could run a marathon. There's no way I could ever do this or I could ever do that. Well, don't limit yourself. to those things, because I never thought I could do that either.
Exactly.
But it's just about going day by day and just getting active, and then seeing where that activity is going to lead you, what people you're going to come in contact with, what stories you're going to find out, and what stories you'll be able to tell later on because of it too.
Right. And just, I love that, you know, you started with a goal of 2 miles, which is a lot for someone that hasn't ran before, but you had done some running before, like you said, in high school. But, you know, I encourage people, if you're starting with a 2-minute walk, if that's where you got to start there, you know, okay, I'll do 2-minute walk every day for 30 days. That is a start. And you would be amazed at just how quickly that 2-minute walk will encourage. You'll miss that. If you don't get that in, you'll miss that. And how easy is it to add to a 2-minute walk?
Right.
And before you know it, you know, you're walking an hour. Before you know it, you're getting in 10 miles a day. You know, that's wherever your starting point is, it's perfectly okay. And everybody's been there. And that's a lot what I love about these types of groups. There's no judgment. There's not. It can get competitive, but it's a fun, friendly, encouraging kind of competitiveness.
Definitely so.
Yeah, I love that.
And so I ended up doing my first ultra, which was the Stump Jump 50K in 2012, I believe. And the ultra is anything beyond a marathon. And the usually first distance beyond a marathon is 50K or 31 miles. And I did that. And then that's where I first met Randy. He was the race director for that race. And I found out about many more races. And I thought, if I can do 50K, well, I'll try 50 miles. And then after 50 miles, somebody said, hey, you should do 100 miles. And that's just the way it happened until I did Wild Trails put on a 100-mile trail race around the Ocoee River called Thunder Rock. I did that back in 2014. It's my first 100-miler. And I went from being sedentary, you know, a few years before, to running 100 miles and being a little upset that I couldn't finish it in under 24 hours. I finished it in 24 hours and 16 seconds.
Well, it's not a trivial 100-miler.
No.
I mean, there's a lot easier ones out there where 24 hours is doable. And that's kind of the holy grail of 100-milers. And so to go from, you know, go in 2 years from basically not doing anything to almost, you know, kind of doing something that takes a lot of 100-mile veterans years to get to the you know, the promised land of under a 24-hour period. So yeah, it was pretty big.
Wow.
Ask, so.
And David, I mean, you said you were 100 pounds overweight when all this began. Is that right?
So I was at about 315 pounds, ended up losing over 100 to begin with. I'm about at 100 now, down, so about 215, 220 or so.
And wow, those for you listening on the radio, I mean, we're also live streaming on YouTube and Facebook, so the viewer can see that David does not look like he ever weighed over 300 pounds. He looks so healthy and vibrant, and it's just awesome to hear your story and getting started and, you know, getting off the couch and getting connected and making it happen. Yeah,
and I firmly believe that can happen to anybody. I mean, I think, well, if it happened for me, it can happen for anybody else too. It's just really, it's more about training that mental muscle than anything else, and making that decision that, hey, I am going to do something to better myself, to better my family, and to make an impact upon those around me. And you'd be surprised when you get active, how much that encourages other people to get active also, whether it be in your own household or people that see you in the neighborhood. Hey, you're going out, you're running every single day. I see that. And that's a motivating thing. Or other people that you meet. And it really is encouraging. And then we are super blessed here in Chattanooga to live in a beautiful place that is just perfect to be active in. Whether you want something like the Riverwalk, or if you want some of the wonderful trails we have all over the place. And you know, this is called the Scenic City, but it's not truly the Scenic City until you work yourself to some of those scenes and be able to see some of those views and everything that a lot of people who have lived there all their life have missed out on, simply because they just didn't put forth some effort to go out and see those things.
And that was a lot of what I got excited about when I pitched this platform to the radio station. Is I'm out there quite a bit. I've got to view a lot of pretty amazing views but I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to learn about so much more that I didn't know was out there. And that's a lot what we want to use that platform for. And I love that you're sharing about how it encourages, inspires those around you, because I've had so many friends, like when Ironman comes around and we go down there and we watch an over 80-year-old man cross the finish line. And he's one of the ones that didn't go directly to the wheelchair. And you're so incredibly inspired. Well, then I watch one by one my friends getting involved in Ironman. And then I watch more and more. I'm getting invited. When are you going to get a paddleboard? When are you going to come paddleboard with us? Like, oh my, it's a, you get around and it's just contagious. Definitely as more of your friends get to do that. And if it starts with spectatorship, that's okay. If you can't participate at first, that's what some of these events are about, is just getting you familiar with the activity in itself. And Randy, can you speak to that a little bit? Because I know that you host a ton, Wild Trails hosts a ton of events. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, we're going to put on 15 events next year, and those are races. And we actually just jumped into paddleboard racing this year. So we put on a first paddleboard race, and we also put on a really cool adventure triathlon, we call it. But it's paddling and running and climbing at the Walnut Street climbing wall. So that turned out
paddling, running, and climbing. That sounds fun.
It's really fun. Everyone had such a great time. So we'll do that again this next year. And we're doing a bunch of new things. It's actually not new things for us, but we're going to start offering them to the rest of the community, called Adventure Series. So, a lot of people get in these races not because they're competitive. I mean, the finish line of a 50K is a vastly different conversation than the finish line of a marathon or a triathlon.
Amen.
So it's just a really neat thing because everybody's talking about the adventure. It's about the experience. Nobody seems to care about what time it is, what kind of swag you got, what was out there. So we're going to do these adventure series of things that we in the running and paddling community do already, because they're no cost, and it's just logistics is all we're offering. So it's not a race, and I really like it because I don't have to get a permit. If there's no fee, if there's no sponsors, and if there's no awards given, you don't typically need to have a permit for most things, and as long as the numbers are fairly small. So it's going to be limited to a busload of people if we have to do logistics. So we've got 3 of them slated already for this year. It's going to be the big loop, which is a 42-mile paddle and a 15-mile run back to your car in Chickamauga. So it's West Chickamauga Creek, South Chickamauga Creek, Tennessee River, Chattanooga Creek.
Wow.
So you do that big 42-mile loop, and then you run 14, 15 miles, back to your car. So that's kind of a cool thing we've done several times, but now we're just going to say, hey, anybody wants to do it, we'll take care of your board. You have to be a Wild Trails member in order to kind of get in our insurance, but the rest of the stuff is going to be for free. So,
well, explain that. How did you go about a Wild Trails membership?
So actually there's some perks to it. We've kind of held off for years and years to having membership. Most running related clubs could not survive without membership. Chattanooga Track Club's a perfect example. So we're going to now start offering that, and you get some stuff, swag and things. And it's like $30 a year. So it's not a big deal, but it allows these little non-events to be insured. So
yes.
Kind of getting ourselves protected a little bit. So yeah,
well, it's a good thing to invest in because, Randy, I hear about your contribution. Right, I host an outdoor show, and so many people know you and have been involved in some of the cleanup programs and so forth that you sponsor and pull off. Can you touch on that?
So yeah, we one of the reasons why my wife and I started Wild Trails 11 years ago, I think, or maybe 12, is that there was hardly any trail maintenance going on. I mean, we were big trail runners. That's all we do is run on trails. I mean, we don't run on roads hardly ever. You get to a big blowdown, and there was a trail that went around it. So nobody was doing the chainsaw mainly work to clean up these trails, and there wasn't a whole lot of new trails being proposed or built.
Yeah.
So
I'm on enough trails to realize that. Yeah.
So we started with getting out, clearing them ourselves, and then we said, hey, there's a lot of people that just don't have the sawyer skills. They may be good at operating a chainsaw, but it's a whole different thing to really know and have a lot of experience with a chainsaw. So that's a big deal. So we're clearing all these trails, but then we got into paddling and saw how much of a disaster, like all the creeks are. Lookout Creek, for example, used to be able to paddle from Trenton to downtown, and they had a thing called the Water Scouts back in the 40s.
Wow.
And so these kids were clearing that course. And so I don't know why, probably attorneys got involved and killed it, but so we're doing that. We've identified, I think, 77 miles of flatwater creeks around Chattanooga that need either serious to open them up and then ongoing maintenance. So that's our big deal for clearing creeks and just anything we can do to get more people out using the trails, dirt, or water.
And Wild Trails, I mean, Randy and Chris both working together, pretty humble about it, but they do a ton of stuff for Chattanooga.
Exactly.
And clearing the trails and encouraging activity. And they're a big part of why I do trail runs, a big part of my health and fitness. Just getting to know them and the encouragement that they have going on. And so I encourage everybody to check out Wild Trails, find a way to get involved, whether it be just spectating a race, volunteering, clearing trails, and you will have a blast of a time enjoying that activity for sure.
Randy, go ahead and share the info, the website address and so forth.
So just wildtrails.org. You can pretty much find everything. We call it the 3 pillars, but we do the events. We also do community outreach, which is like the 200-mile club. We're also doing a youth development thing and getting a lot of people out, whether it's just you want to go out and we can coordinate getting a naturalist to do a nature hike or a paddle, all the way to helping us put on one of these 100-mile races that takes 36 hours to orchestrate. So that's the community outreach piece. And then we have all of the actual getting involved, cleaning trails, we're building the next 12 miles of the Cumberland Trail right now. And several other projects in the works. We've built bridges, we've built stairs, we've retrofitted. We're working on trying to build a bunch of trails down to the water. So a lot of good stuff.
That is absolutely awesome. And we're going to wrap up the second half. Randy's going to stick with us as we bring Joseph Gudger on. He's a whitewater kayaker and coach with Ace Kayaking, and they have a little bit in common. So we're going to have a nice conversation when they get back. Right here after the break. David, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I can't wait to have you back. Especially like after, like some pre-event stories, and then the after stories are always a lot of fun. But we'll be back after the break. Stay with us.